their jobs.
Tom Gross, is he the right man for the job?
Well, I think we really don't know. I mean, I would agree up to a point with both your previous guests. We certainly need some optimism. There's nothing wrong with optimism. But the first guest who mentioned detail, I'm not sure that's Boris's strongest point. He really has to hit the ground running. We have less than 100 days until his self-imposed deadline, or rather the EU's deadline of October 31st to carry out Brexit, which he says he wants to do by then. We're entering the summer holiday period. Parliament in the UK is about to go into recess, and of course much of the people in France and Germany take the whole of August off. So I've known Boris Johnson since I was a teenager. I don't really believe that politicians change their personalities when they come into power, when they become Prime Minister. And although Boris is a celebrity and he's certainly amusing and good television and so on, Britain is at a very, very serious juncture in its modern history. And I just don't know whether Boris has the right temperament for such a serious point in British history.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned that people's personalities don't change. And so Tom Gross is somebody who's known him for a long, long time. He's an Eton boy, he's an Oxford boy. He's got this mumbly, flabby, sloppy irreverence, which sometimes seems almost carefully crafted, right? And even though he said stuff about Donald Trump in the past, Donald Trump has chimed in. Donald Trump said, he's tough and he's smart. They're calling him Britain Trump. That's what he tweeted. And people are saying that's a good thing. They like me over there. So Trump made it about himself. With all of that in mind, tell me about what the symbolism for the UK and its standing. Tell me what all of that means and represents with Boris Johnson as Prime Minister, knowing the man.
Well, I do think there are some similarities between Boris Johnson and Donald Trump. They both became known on television, in Trump, The Apprentice, in Boris Johnson, Have I Got News for You? And they both are very ambitious, more than policy-oriented. I think he raises the profile of Britain in the sense that people know him by his first name, Boris, not just in Britain, but increasingly internationally. How many politicians in the world are known by their first name? Usually that's just reserved for pop stars like Madonna or Beyonce or something. So in that sense, I think he'll become a well-known, better than, say, Theresa May, a well-known figurehead around the world. But is that good for Britain? I don't know. Donald Trump is a very well-known household name, but it doesn't mean that's necessarily good for America or America's standing. So, look, Boris Johnson is more intelligent than Donald Trump. As you say, he actually got a scholarship to Eton. He did well at Oxford. He was president of the Oxford Union. When I arrived at Oxford, he was older than me, but he was already a celebrity there among students. As the president of the union, he was a celebrity when he was a journalist. We both worked at the Telegraph for a while, and he stood out from practically every other journalist at the Telegraph as a amusing character, a larger-than-life character. He's certainly funny and makes people laugh, but are these the qualities necessary for any Prime Minister, especially at this juncture in time, which is just critical for Britain? Yesterday he said he wanted to both unite Britain and deliver Brexit. I don't know how that's possible, because the country is very, very divided over Brexit.
Right.